From the Oklahoma newsroom, you're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. We are brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can go online anytime and order your pizza at papajohns.com. Time for We Pick 'em Barry. It's all basketball and lots of big games this week as the Thunder keeps pushing for the playoffs. Let's start with the big Wednesday night game here in Oklahoma City. The Clippers come to town. It's a 7 o'clock kick. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Thunder. The Thunder's been playing well at home. Haven't beaten a lot of good teams. Not a lot of good teams have come in since the trade, but took care of the Raptors on Sunday night. I think Thunder's playing okay. Clippers not playing that great. Blake Griffin's status unknown. Chris Paul's banged up too. Too many question marks for the Clippers. I'll take the Thunder.
Yeah, I'm going with the Thunder as well. Who would have thought a game where injuries were a question mark might actually favor the Thunder? But here we are. The Thunder getting some guys back, getting some guys healthy. We saw the return of Steven Adams over the weekend. No word on Kevin Durant's return, but you got to think it's coming. Not against the Clippers likely, but still I like the Thunder in this game. I think it's going to be a really up-tempo, high-scoring game, Barry. The Clippers not super defensive-minded, and the Thunder sort of trended away from the days of Perk and really great defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manage the Clippers, but I think the Clippers ailing enough, the Thunder gets the job done on Wednesday night. All right, Barry, let's talk a little college ball. You're headed to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament, and it starts with Bedlam, 8 o'clock on Thursday night. Who are you taking in this one?
Well, I'm going to take the Sooners. I think they're the better team. But I think a couple things actually are sort of an advantage for OSU. One is the old adage, hard to beat a team 3 times, especially a good team. Now, debate whether OSU's a good team, but the Cowboys are going to make the NCAA tournament. So let's just say that, they're a solid team. Not great, but it's going to be tough to beat them 3 times. The other thing is I think OSU's playing better. They had the 4-game dip where they played terrible, came back with a good win over TCU, and then played well in Morgantown in defeat. So I think OSU's playing well, but Oklahoma's better. I'll take the Sooners.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Sooners as well. And yeah, they've had ups and downs as well. I mean, these two teams, I think that's really a common thread for both. The Sooners had a chance to play for a Big 12 championship, instead lose that big lead at Iowa State, then nearly get beat by a Kansas team that was really shorthanded. But I still think OU really focused on getting a win in the postseason, have not done that in the Lon Kruger era. So I think they'll be motivated, ready to go. And I think that they, again, are the better team. I'll agree with you there. So I think the Sooners get the job done in that Bedlam game Thursday night. All right, Barry, what about the Big 12 tournament itself? Who you got winning this thing?
Got a surprise team, Baylor Bears. Scott Drew is the punching bag for the Big 12. Everybody talks about what a bad coach he is, but the truth of the matter is he produces. His teams play well, particularly in March. Been to 2 Sweet 16s in recent years, and tend to play pretty well in the Big 12 tournament. I think the draw goes well with them. They've got West Virginia, a team they swept in the regular season. They blew them out in Morgantown, and then what probably would play a crippled Kansas team, missing some prime players. So I think it's setting up for Baylor. I'm going to take the Bears.
I think you're just looking for a green team to like in March now that Michigan State's on a downward trend.
What happened to the Spartans?
I don't know. Tom Izzo.
Chad Previch. Tell me what happened to the Michigan State Spartans.
Former Oklahoman employee, big Spartans fan. I don't think he knows, or he'd probably be fixing it right now. I'm going to go with OU to win the Big 12 tournament. I don't know if that's a surprise or not. Maybe the fact that neither of us picked Kansas is a surprise. Being that this is in Kansas City, it'll be a huge home court advantage for the Jayhawks, as they always tend to get a lot of people there. But I think OU is going to get off on a good foot against OSU, going to feel that momentum going forward. I think they might have the best starting 5 in the Big 12. And if those guys get going, they're a defensive-minded team. They can play through stretches when they're not shooting it well. I think they got a chance to win this thing. That championship game, by the way, 5 o'clock on Saturday evening. All right, Barry, let's get back to the Thunder. Lots of big games this week, it seems like. Sunday, it's a noon tip-off between the Thunder and the Bulls here at the Peak. Who are you taking in this one?
I'll take the Thunder. The Thunder should have won in Chicago last week, sort of gave that game away. The Bulls have played well in the wake of Derrick Rose's injury. Frankly, this is a team that's not built around Derrick Rose anymore. It's just a good, solid, all-around team. But I think the Thunder gets them. Thunder does need to do a little bit better job of matching up, but I think the Thunder beat Chicago.
By the way, we're skipping over that Friday night game against the Timberwolves. So obviously it doesn't seem like as much of a big game as
I'll
this.
take the Thunder in that one.
That's a bonus pick right there. I'm taking the Thunder against the Bulls as well. And I think by Sunday we could see Kevin Durant possibly making a return. So you're looking at a Thunder team that could potentially have all of its bullet in the gun finally for the first time in a long time. Granted, with games to play, you never know. Somebody could get hurt. It happens seemingly all the time. But if Durant is back, a noon tip-off, Sunday, primetime TV, as you mentioned, against a team that they should have beaten in Chicago, I think they get the job done against the Bulls. And then they got the second half of a back-to-back. Monday night, they go down to Dallas to play the Mavs, Barry. That's a 7:30 start on Monday night. Who are you going to take in this one?
This is a big game that people don't realize the magnitude. Thunder's crawled within 3 games of Dallas in the loss column. So, while New Orleans continues to chip away at the Thunder's bid on 8th, Thunder's coming up on Dallas. So,
yeah.
If the Thunder can make up a game or so between now and Monday, they could be playing to really be right on the heels of the Mavericks for the 7th seed. So It's a big game. I'm going to take the Thunder. They played well on the road. They just haven't beaten teams they should have beaten. They should have won in Chicago. Should have won a couple of other places. Played well in Portland. Played well in Phoenix. Lost both of those games with the new look guys. I think they get it done in Dallas. The Mavericks are reeling. Got blown out on Tuesday night by the Fighting LeBrons. So I don't think the Mavericks are playing their best ball.
Well, and if you look at it, we're talking about that win on Sunday against the Raptors. Then if they would beat the Clippers, beat the Timberwolves, beat the Bulls, and then beat the Mavs, that's a huge winning streak for these guys. Building momentum, as you mentioned, trying to climb up in the standings. I think they get the job done in Dallas as well. Obviously, it's going to be tough coming off what's likely to be a tough game against the Bulls, who are so defensive-minded. Really gonna stretch the Thunder, stress what they do out there. But I think the Thunder's playing well. And again, I think the chance that Kevin Durant could be back in the lineup. I know that we don't know anything. We don't have that as a solid, but I do think that there's a good chance of that. So added that in. I'll take the Thunder against the Mavs as well. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.